Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal and you are watching the Mojo Story. In a first, the UN Security Council has officially named the Resistance Front or the TRF as a proxy of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba as responsible for the April 22 Pahalgam terror attack in which 26 people were killed, 25 of them tourists and one a local Kashmiri. The UN Sanction Monitoring Report has cited TRF's initial claim and photograph of the attack site despite its later retraction. Remember, the TRF had initially claimed responsibility for that attack, but later, because of the pressure from India and global pressure, also it had retracted. Uh, and the TRF's link to LET is also clearly established, despite Pakistan trying its diplomatic efforts to suppress all of this, and the mention of TRF as a project of the indigenous group. That's what the Pakistan has been saying, that TRF has no connection with the LET. To understand this, we are joined by uh, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst. Welcome to Mojo Story, Tehseen. How significant do you think this development is, that UN for the first time formally naming TRF for the Pahalgam terror attack? We know that TRF had taken the responsibility for that attack, but later, due to pressure, it just retracted that responsibility.
Thank you so much, Zafar, for having me on the show. There are three or four issues that we need to look at, and this is a massive, massive, massive victory for India and Indian diplomatic efforts. Pahalgam was one of the most terrible and heinous attacks to have happened in India and on Indian territory. Let's go back to what Pahalgam attack was. Terrorists, mostly from the special forces in Pakistan, came into India, checked the religious identity of 25 Indians and one Nepali citizen. They made them recite the Kalma. They even opened their pants as per some accounts. And then they shot them in the head. This was an attack meant to divide India. And therefore, this brutal attack needed to be put before the world. Now, like all attacks, Pakistan has escaped responsibility or tried to say that these were not their people. However, the branding of TRF, which is a front for the Lashkar-e-Taiba, which we all know, is a massive victory for India because this will now put Pakistan under pressure. And once again, it may get Pakistan on the FATF grey list, or we may push to put Pakistan on the grey list, out of which it has come out. It will also help the Indian claims that money being given to Pakistan is diverted not for development of Pakistan, but diverted to fund terror against India.
Right. And that's quite significant because both the things that you have mentioned, that Pakistan getting IMF bailouts and for its development projects, but at the same time, we're seeing this terror factory going on unabated in Pakistan. But do you think this latest development will change the international perception as far as that is concerned? Because Pakistan has been putting across this narrative that it has nothing to do with terrorism and it's in fact the victim of terrorism. But here, for uh, the mention of the TRF and say, clear mention and mentioning that the photographs were also used by the TRF and later retracted the statement, do you think in one way or the other it will also help to change that perception?
Pakistan has always been the factory of the world that produces terror. And it's not just India that has been affected. In fact, Osama bin Laden was found in Pakistan, hiding right in the cantonment area of Pakistan.
Yeah,
The Berlin bomber, the London bomber, Daniel Pearl's murderers, they cut him live, his head on TV. All of them have a Pakistan connection. So Pakistan produces terrorism for the world.
yeah,
India, in fact, let me go a step further, is doing the world a favor. India is doing the globe a favor by identifying and even eliminating these terror organizations because today they are attacking India, but like in the past, tomorrow they will attack Europe and America. Make no mistake about it. This is the terror factor of the world. Will it make a difference to Pakistan? Pakistan is a shameless country. We know that these TRF, there is no difference between state and non-state actors. These TRF soldiers, foot soldiers, or the Lashkar-e-Taiba foot soldiers, are trained by the Pakistan military. If they are not a part of the special forces, they're trained by the special forces. You, Zafar, are a very senior journalist and you understand both the region very well, geopolitics well, and military and terrorism strategy. It is not possible for common citizens like you and me to climb the heights and enter
Yeah.
Pahalgam the way those
Yeah.
heights were climbed, to track with those kind of ammunition, as the Honorable Home Minister said in the parliament, the kind of weapons they had, the AKs and the other US based machine guns. So, to track with all of that, to climb those mountains, we also have other evidences that they were from Pakistan. Apart from the forensics that were done at a Chandigarh lab, etc., we also know satellite images of the area were downloaded. Asim Muni's hate speech. So we have a lot of evidence to nail TRF, Lashkar-e-Taiba in Pakistan. And again, Pakistan and these non-state actors act together to spread terror across the globe.
Right. And it's very interesting because after the Pahalgam terror attack, Ishaq Dar, the Pakistani minister, stood up in the National Assembly and said that Pakistan played an important role to get TRF off the out of it. TRF was not mentioned in that statement, and he said that it was because of Pakistan's efforts that it was not mentioned. And then he goes to America, and when America designates it as a terror outfit, he says that he has no problems with that. One doesn't understand this duality, this contradiction. We have, in fact, that soundbite of Ishaq Dar when Pahalgam terror attack took place, and what did he say in the National Assembly of Pakistan? Let's just play it.
उसमें ब्लेम डाला गया था द रेजिस्टेंस फोरम। ये वो फोरम है कि जब 2019 में इसको हड़प किया गया गैर कानूनी, जो कि हम नहीं मानते, वो बिल्कुल इलीगल है, तो उसके नतीजे में जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में एक फोरम बना जिसका नाम है द रेजिस्टेंस फोरम, और उस पे उसको कंडेम किया गया, उसको जिम्मेदार ठहराया गया उस प्रेस रिलीज में। तो मुझे आई, मैंने देखा, मैंने कहा ये एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं। पहलगाम के साथ आपको लिखना पड़ेगा जम्मू एंड कश्मीर। मैंने कहा यहां हमें एविडेंस दिखाएं कि ये द रेजिस्टेंस फोरम ने, द TRF ने किया है, तो फिर हम इसको रहने देंगे, या उनकी ओनरशिप दिखा दें कि इन्होंने एक मीडिया में चला भी दिया कि उन्होंने ओन कर लिया, वो झूठा था। उनके नहीं, ये नहीं है। तो उस पर करीबन हमारे जी 2.5 दिन लगे। वी रिफ्यूज टू बज इन। मुझे बड़े बड़े कैपिटल से कॉलें आई कि देखें इस वक्त मैं कहा जी नथिंग डूइंग, ये नहीं हो सकता, पाकिस्तान विल नॉट एक्सेप्ट। वो कहते आप पे ब्लेम आएगा, प्रेस रिलीज नहीं हुई, इतना बड़ा वाकया हुआ, आपके जाबर एक्सप्रेस भी ये आई थी, कंडेमनेशन की, टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी को कंडेम किया गया था। मैंने कहा वी आर रेडी, बट प्लीज यू हैव टू पुट इन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर एंड हैव टू डिलीट दिस TRF। अल्लाह के फजल करम से जनाब चेयरमैन, पाकिस्तान के को ये मुबारक हो और आपको कि हमने वो दोनों चीज़ें अमेंड करके वो प्रेस रिलीज पे जारी हुई और पाकिस्तान के मौक़िफ़ को तस्लीम किया गया।
He was claiming victory that they got the TRF deleted, and now the TRF has been mentioned and it's put in black and white for him and for everybody to say. Isn't Pakistan's lie got busted here?
Ishaq Dar is a clown. We know this. I mean, the evidence against India is social media. So, I mean, how can we take these bunch of clowns seriously? Let's come to the important thing. The minute US designated TRF as a front for Lashkar-e-Taiba, this was a done deal. We knew UNSC would do it. But what makes this special for India at the UNSC is currently India is not a member of the UNSC and Pakistan is chairing the
Yes,
UNSC.
absolutely.
And yet,
That's very important.
that is the most important thing, and yet we managed this.
Yeah.
Look, these fronts, there are 2 or 3 aspects when I was looking at a TRF and these other organizations that have changed their names, Jaish-e-Mohammed, etc. They've tried and put names that are not Islamic names so that they get away and they don't have any connection with Pakistan. So they've tried to use that route. But kudos to our intelligence agencies, to the other things that we did later on. We managed to track this down. And please, TRF has not started suddenly operating just around Pahalgam. You will remember, Zafar, the attack, particularly on Hindus, had happened even last year. They tried when the bus was hit to kill
Yeah.
a similar number
Curious.
of. Yes, and the bus fell in the valley. So this was something that was being planned, and that's where I blame our government, that we knew that these targeted killings were on the line. And once Asim Munir made that hate speech, we should have been prepared for something like this. So these organizations have now adopted a new strategy. They want to change their name. They want to have an arm's distance on the Pakistan state. But the bottom line is the Pakistan state is funding them. Their army is training them, and their army is even attending the funerals of those who have been killed in these in operations by India. So that this is a Pakistan proxy, there is no two ways about it.
Right. And but you mentioned an important point, the names that are used. These are not Islamic names, so to say. But do you believe that Pakistan's use of, these secular sounding names like the TRF has helped it to maintain a plausible deniability in Kashmir, or it has not helped at all because everybody knows it, and that's precisely the reason that this has come up in this report now.
Pakistan is the place that produces terrorism for the globe. Everybody knows it. You may call it by any other name. The only reason Pakistan survives as a nation is because it manages to sell its geography and its strategic importance to the Western Bloc, or sometimes to the Eastern or erstwhile Eastern Bloc, now Russian Chinese Bloc. That's the only reason, because of its strategic importance, the nation continues to survive. Otherwise, people know exactly what Pakistan is about. But I do think no matter what happens, the way we have now gone about with the Pakistan, it is important that the world realizes, as Hillary Clinton had said, that you cannot have a snake in your background and think it will only bite your neighbors. It will bite you. If Europe and America continue to deal with Pakistan as kid gloves, Pakistan will sting them back. It's done it in the past. It will do it. Make no mistake about it. That is just the nature of the beast. The beast can never be tamed.
Right. Right. Another point that I wanted to discuss with you, after Pahalgam happened on 22nd April, there were speculations, some voices were there that what happened to these terrorists? Why weren't they caught? Why, if we're attacking Pakistan and doing Operation Sindoor, the terror camps there, what happened to those terrorists? But that has also, that narrative has also ended now after Operation Mahadev, in which all the three terrorists were killed yesterday, and all the three are Pakistanis. That again
That
points to the fact that Pakistan has been instigating terrorism and is directly responsible for the Pahalgam terror attack. You can see on that screen, those are the visuals of the bodies of those terrorists.
I'm so grateful to our armed forces, our army, our CRPF, and our Jammu and Kashmir police for a successful Operation Mahadev. And as the Honorable Home Minister explained in Parliament, this was not an easy operation. On 22nd, 23rd morning itself, all exit routes to help them go back to Pakistan were blocked. They made sure that they were confined within India. Then your intelligence worked backwards. They ultimately reached people who had supplied them food, and thereby they got this intelligence. And finally, through satellite linking, they managed to get these terrorists. And after that, we've done the forensics, we've done the reports, we've done the analysis, and we have evidence to give the world that these are Pakistan-based people. The question therefore arises, and we also have their voter number that the Honorable Home Minister said in Parliament. The question is, even if you're a terrorist in any nation or a criminal in any nation, it's not possible to carry out a sophisticated attack like this without state support. How do you land up with these heavy machine guns, assault weapons? How do you survive in the jungle? Because surviving in the jungle is not easy. To be able to survive in the jungle, it requires special training. So all of this being done by the special forces of Pakistan. This is a recruit of the special forces of Pakistan, and therefore, despite being in opposition, the government's line that we will not distinguish between terrorist groups and armed forces of Pakistan, and therefore state actors and non-state actors, I think is a very pertinent line to take, because these three people, whether or not they were in the Pakistan army or no, they've been trained by the Pakistan army and special forces. Therefore, we must have no distinction. You again, as somebody who does journalism of the highest quality, you know that it's not easy to use assault weapons. For example, when you use an AK or any other machine gun, there'll be a recoil. There's a way you fire. There's a way you hold it. There's a stance you need to take. So for them to do it, you need training for it. If a layman is given these weapons, they can't fire. They won't even be able to unlock it or load the barrel. So all of this training to how to survive in a jungle, how to climb those mountains, how to be incommunicado, how to disappear, how to use the resources of the jungle, because you don't get food in the jungle, right? So eating little water, you're surviving on little water, little urine, you pass out, you don't use too much, you sort of use your sweat to allow yourself not to be dehydrated. All of these tricks that are done, the fruits, the insects that you use as protein, these can only come from training. They don't come anywhere else. So Pakistan is behind this. And now this evidence should be presented before the world so that Pakistan's truth is once again put before the world. And we must make all efforts sincerely to put Pakistan back on the green list.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to tell you, that that this is now the evidence that is clearly before everybody, and this evidence can be presented for a case against Pakistan, that till now these terrorists were not neutralized, but now they have been neutralized, and there is clear evidence the weapons that they were using, and they survived in those jungles for all this time. And it's not just the Pahalgam terror attack; they were also involved in Gagangir, which is another place in the Kashmir Valley. There was a terror attack there in the past, and there have been several attacks on the south of Pir Panjal in Jammu region. So this module seems to be active in those forested areas for a long time, and they are not just involved in Pahalgam but in other terror attacks also. So now there is a clear proof that these are the ones who carried out the Pahalgam terror attack. It solidifies India's case.
Absolutely. India's case was never in doubt because TRF itself had claimed success for what happened in Pahalgam. It was there for a significant amount of time until their handlers in Pakistan realized that this is going to hit back Pakistan. And then they had it removed and they made the obnoxious claim that this was trying to be planted by India. Now, with the kind of evidence that we have, now with the forensics that we have, with the voter number that we have, including the voter number of the terrorist who was assassinated, and then we had the Pakistan army, along with global designated terrorists at the funeral. We had the voter numbers there. I think we are putting a case before the world of how the Pakistan armed forces are hand in glove with these non-state actors, and therefore there is no non-state actor in Pakistan. They are all state actors, some official, some unofficial, but they are all state actors of the Pakistan army. I think what is important now is how India continues to press for Pakistan's isolation, because Pakistan is going to try and once again sell a narrative to China, to Russia, and to the rest of the world to protect itself. And it is now the ball is in India's court after a phenomenal job of exposing them how we can isolate.
And I think one of the victories of India is that the mention of TRF in a UN committee. And you were also saying that it is Pakistan which is a member of that committee and not India. Do you think that Indian diplomacy, the role of Indian diplomacy in ensuring that TRF was named in the UN report despite Pakistan's resistance? You heard that soundbite of the Pakistani minister that he was claiming victory, that they ensured that the TRF gets deleted from that report initially. But now the tables have turned.
It's not just Pakistan as a member of UNSC, it's chairing the UNSC. I think their chairmanship ends today or tomorrow. I'm not sure, but they're chairing it. So I think this is even more phenomenal. Apart from Indian diplomacy, which I would obviously give credit to and salute, I would like to name two individuals in particular. The Indian delegation that went to the US, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, his personal rapport with Marco Rubio, and Milindora and his personal rapport with JD Vance. I think this brought about TRF first being put in the US list of terrorist organizations. And of course, JD Vance and his personal chemistry with Prime Minister Modi. We've heard JD Vance's wife, Usha Vance, speak about how Prime Minister Modi was such a good host, how the kids loved him, JD Vance and Usha Vance's kids loved him. So I think it was a combination of a lot of factors, of course, our professional diplomacy, that led to TRF first being designated by US as a terror organization and a front for Lashkar-e-Taiba. And once the US did it, it was a matter of time before the UN does it. And we knew that China will not be able to block it once it's done.
Right. And, the discussion on Operation Sindoor is still ongoing in the parliament, and Home Minister had said specifically about that post that was put out by the TRF and later deleted. We have that soundbite, we can just play it.
मान्यवर इन लोगों को कल ऐसा था कि ये जो बेसरन के गुनेगार है वो पाकिस्तान भाग गए, तो बड़े आवाज से पूछते थे, भाग गए भाग गए भाग गए, गृहमंत्री क्या करता है, जिम्मेदारी ले। हमारी तो सेना ने ठोक दिया, सीआरपीएफ ने ठोक दिया। मान्यवर, अब मेरा तो जवाब बनना ना देता है ना वो मांगना बनता है। मान्यवर, हमारे पास प्रूफ है, वो भी मैं सदन के सामने रखना चाहता हूं कि तीनों पाकिस्तानी थे। 3 में से 2 के पाकिस्तान के वोटर नंबर भी आज हमारे पास उपलब्ध है। मान्यवर, ये राइफलें हैं, ये राइफलें भी हमारे पास उपलब्ध है। इनके पास से जो चॉकलेटें मिली हैं, वो चॉकलेटें ढोक में से मिली, वो भी पाकिस्तान की बनाई हुई चॉकलेट है। मान्यवर, ये कहते हैं कि पाकिस्तानी नहीं थे, इसका मतलब पूरी दुनिया के सामने इस देश का एक पूर्व गृह मंत्री पाकिस्तान को क्लीन चिट दे रहा है। और
Right. Lastly, Tehseen, how should India leverage this momentum? Of course, there's a momentum. All these terrorists have been killed, and Home Minister really describing the things that even the chocolates are made from Pakistan that were recovered from that dough. How should India, leverage this momentum to further counter terrorism at multilateral forums like the FATF? We know that Pakistan was a member of, was in fact put on the grey list, and then it was taken off. And all these proofs can help to put Pakistan back on the grey list, and that is where the focus should be now.
Before I answer that, some of the comments that I read on social media about the Honorable Home Minister's speeches on Operation Mahadev in Parliament was, why would they get chocolates with them and get themselves caught? These were layman comments made by people who don't understand terrorists and operations operate. So you take these food, because these food gives you a sugar spike. Because once you carry out an operation like the Pahalgam operation, you have to go into hiding. So there'll be long period of time in a jungle where you won't have food. So you need an immediate sugar spike. So you'll take your protein bars, you'll take your chocolates, you'll take things like that and go. So these are commonsensical things. These are not things you got to ask questions about, because social media sometimes throws up questions that you think that they're so basic, then you have to go back to them and explain them.
This is a common practice that they carry dry fruits and they carry these protein and sugar dense chocolates with them. This has been always happening. This is the standard procedure for the terrorists to carry them along, because this doesn't take a lot of space and it helps them to have those that nutrition whenever they want that, because they have to also carry things which are light. They cannot carry huge things. They have to move from one place to another. So it is in that context.
They'll wear boots in which they can even fill water and drink, because they'll get only limited water. So these are standard things. We can't go back to explaining this to people.
Absolutely. But coming back to my question about the momentum, leveraging the momentum, and on multilateral forums like the FATF, because that is very significant, because the pressure has to come from those really forums that can put Pakistan back in its place.
Absolutely, and I totally concur with this. The ball is now firmly in India's court. So far, we've done phenomenally well. Now, with this evidence, with Lashkar-e-Taiba, TRF being branded as the terror organization responsible for Pahalgam, and the evidence we have that these were people from Pakistan's state or non-state actors trained by Pakistan Special Forces to carry out the most heinous and barbaric crime against humanity, I think India must go on the offensive. We must show the world that no matter what, the dog's tail will always remain crooked. Though I love dogs, you cannot make it straight. Pakistan is the proverbial snake. Poison. Actually, you shouldn't be calling it a snake. Snakes are beautiful creatures. Pakistan is a proverbial troublemaker, and no matter what you do, they will only blackmail. And therefore, I would like to appreciate our armed forces on one point, that this time when we carried out Operation Sindoor, we did not give in to the nuclear blackmail. Something Pakistan has tried repeatedly with us. They are a country, they're a nation that blackmails, they're a nation that is perpetually playing the victim, but they are not victims, they are aggressors. And no, Pakistan and India are not on the same side of the coin. We are both not victims of terrorism. We, India, are victims of terrorism. Pakistan are victims of the terrorism they create. If they stop creating this terrorism, neither will we be victims nor will they be victims. They are creating this terrorism through state actors and then they call themselves victims. They are not same people. They are the perpetrators of terror. We are the victims of terror, the only victims of terror.
Thank you so much, Tassin, for coming to our show today and for sharing your thoughts. And thanks to our viewers for joining in and for watching the Mojo Story. Thank you.
Thank you, Zafar. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.